Welcome back, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed your lunch and learned so many amazing takeaways from the breakouts today. If you were experiencing timing issues with the app, we're so sorry for the confusion, but we've got a fix for you. So listen up. So if you were having problems, all you have to do is go to the My Sessions area, remove your selected sessions, go back and reselect them. The timing should be updated with the correct rooms. So take a look at that if you had any issues. And thank you for your patience with us as we're working through this brand new app, and we appreciate your feedback. But today is really flying by. We're already at 3 o'clock, and we've just got a few more sessions to go. I'm sure your notebooks are already filling up with your takeaways, and we're definitely going to keep that coming with these final sessions of the day. So last year, we brought back to the stage PoshStories, which are inspirational talks by community members with you talking about the ways that Poshmark changed your lives. And we're really thrilled to have more people joining to share their stories this year. So please help me welcome to the stage Veronica, Ray, and Lynnette.
My name is Lynnette. I'm at Lovely Finds, and this is my Poshmark story. I had my daughter when I was really young. I was 17, and I was still in high school. Life would get hard, but we would always manage to find a way to figure it out. We had a great relationship. My daughter was great with me, and I really valued what we had together. So when I started dating my husband, the dynamic started to change. He had 2 young boys that were 5 and 7, and my daughter at the time was 8. She had a hard time learning how to share her mom. We made it work as best as we could in my tiny 2-bedroom apartment in Southern California, and it worked for us because we had rotating schedules. Sometimes the boys would spend time with their mom, and sometimes my daughter would be with her dad. So we weren't always under the same roof at the same time. One day, my husband and I had a night alone, so we decided to take advantage of it and go to dinner. We had a wonderful time until we received a phone call that changed everything. It was the authorities, and they had his son. The next month was a roller coaster for us, and we did the best that we could with that. It resulted in him getting full custody, which was great. It was a huge relief, with the exception that there were no more rotating schedules. Every time I had my daughter, she had to share me. There were no more breaks. She had a hard time dealing with that, and it got so bad, it got to the point where one day I went to pick her up. It was my time with her, and she didn't want to go. She didn't want to come with me. I'll never forget her walking up to me, looking me in the face with tearful eyes, saying, "I don't want to go with you, that's not my home, that my home is here. I don't want you to be my mom anymore. I wish you would just leave." That broke my heart, and it crushed me. And I knew that I had to fix our situation, and I had to fix it fast. We always knew that we needed more space, but it's buying a home and finding a place with more space in Southern California with a family of 4 is really expensive. We were saving towards that down payment, but it just wasn't happening fast enough. We tried and tried, every paycheck setting money aside, but it just was such a slow process, and every single day that passed, my relationship with my daughter was deteriorating. I'll never forget the night that my husband came home with this brilliant idea that we need to sell our stuff. And I thought he was nuts. I thought he was crazy. Who's gonna wanna buy my things? And just to humor him, I thought I'd give it a shot. And that's how I found the Poshmark app. I started listing things from my closet. My pictures were terrible. I didn't know about the square photo, so everything was cut off. My descriptions were, let's not talk about those. It was pretty bad, but I did my best. And I remember one day looking in my email, getting that notification that I had made a sale. That moment that I saw how much money that I made was so much more progress than I had made, and I finally saw that glimmer of hope. I saw a way that I could actually change my circumstance faster than what it was. So I kept doing it. I kept listing and selling and listing and selling, and then finally this whole thing started in about November, and by April I had made enough to save enough for a down payment, and on Cinco de Mayo, our offer got accepted on our home. which, thank you. It was amazing, and I remember telling my daughter that we were moving and that we had found a bigger space and that we were really gonna be able to do this. And when I looked at her, I saw optimism, and I hadn't seen that in such a long time. For me, Poshmark wasn't just about the money. It was about what I could do with that money. It was an opportunity to change my living situation, a way to work on my relationship with my daughter, and a way to change my family, and to be able to work through a blended family that felt like it was going to fail. I am so grateful for what I was able to do with Poshmark, and so is my daughter and my entire family. My name is Lynnette, I'm at Lovely Finds, and this is my Posh story.
Hi guys, my name's Ray. My closet's at Running Fab, and this is my Posh story. So I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And if you were to tell me 3 years ago that I'd be on this very stage speaking to all of you, I wouldn't believe it. But I know that the universe works in mysterious ways, and during the darkest time of my life, Poshmark was my silver lining. In November 2016, my life completely flipped upside down. I just started a new job, and I woke up one morning, and I wasn't feeling very well. I had really bad stomach pain, so I went to the ER. And after testing, it turns out I had a large mass in my stomach requiring emergency surgery. It is so scary to hear those words, and I just knew I had to remain positive. That's the only option I had. After surgery, they told me I had a severe case of endometriosis and large ovarian cysts, requiring a second surgery a month later. So around this time, it was actually during the holidays, and having back-to-back stomach surgeries, it really does something to you. Mentally, physically, emotionally, it is draining. It's exhausting. And I just found out I no longer had a job. It became the worst time of my entire life. I spiraled into a deep, dark depression, and it was really hard for me to pull myself out of bed. I felt like I had lost my sense of self, like I had no purpose in this world. And then one day, it just occurred to me. It was literally me versus me, and only I had the power to change the situation. And I'd always wanted to be this quote-unquote girl boss and step outside of the corporate world. And I knew that the universe was working in some weird, wacky way to alter my path. And that's when I heard of Poshmark. So I downloaded the app and put a few items out of my closet for sale. They sold instantly. And I knew that I was onto something. And at the time, I was broke. I was broke. I had no money. And I was living in LA, paying high rent and high medical bills. And I was waiting for $25 to be deposited into my account from Poshmark. And that $25 I used for a little gas, so I could go sourcing, and a little bit of groceries. And Poshmark, it became more than money. It turned into a passion of mine. It gave me life again, like a new spark. And I started sourcing, and that was so fun. I had so much fun going out and finding new items. And I'd always been interested in styling, but I just never had the confidence to put myself out there. So Poshmark gave me that confidence. And I would go out and I would find these items, and I'd style myself, and I'd find my personal style, invest it in a camera, and I would photograph myself, and I'd put them on Instagram at RayRunLove. That's me on IG. You can follow me. Sorry, I had to. But you can. I started posting my outfits on Instagram, and it was just my way to express myself, my creative outlet in the world. And from there, my Posh, it just continually started to grow. And I was feeling better. And I'd been an athlete my entire life and unable to train after surgeries, so I felt better. I registered for an Ironman triathlon, and I would spend my days training for my race and working on my Posh closet. I ended up moving to Palm Springs to save money on rent. I moved into my parents' condo, and I brought my mom on board. She's actually here today. Hi, Mom, you're amazing. And I got an office space, and it was a way for me to invest in myself. And I told myself I would show up for myself every single day and never, ever give up on myself. And I just put my head down, and I knew if I put in the work that something would materialize, and it did. my Posh continued to grow. I started getting influencer collaborations. I started doing personal styling on the side, which led to working on a music video, a couple Lifetime movies, and then working on the TV show American Horror Story. Things were happening because Poshmark gave me that confidence to literally run with my passion and to literally be that girl that I always aspired to be. Poshmark brought me back to life. Thank you so much for that. My name's Ray. My closet's at Running Fab, and this is my Posh story.
Hi everyone, my name is Veronica, also known as Flip Journey on the Poshmark and Instagram app, and this is my Posh story. Before I get started with my story today, I would like to extend a sincere thank you to Poshmark for the invitation to share my story with you guys today. I would also like to apologize in advance if I shed a few tears, but you see, this is the first time I'm sharing some of this story, and the road with Poshmark has truly been a journey. I was first introduced to Poshmark in 2015 by a really good friend of mine who had had much success with reselling. Except you see, I sold a couple items here and there, but I was a mom of two and I worked a full-time job, so my life was pretty hectic. For years, I worked in accounting for a corporation in Houston, Texas. My life was pretty busy. In the fall of 2016, my husband and I found out that we were expecting another child, and we were so happy. Everything went as expected throughout my pregnancy, so fast forward to June 27th, 2017, and my youngest, Jacob, was born. Everyone was so excited, except you see, little did I know that day, that was just the beginning of some of the most challenging moments of my life. Sometime the following day, my mom and my mother-in-law came over to visit, and they heard Jacob making a squeaking sound. My mother-in-law quickly jumped up to notice that Jacob was turning blue. She quickly grabbed him, and he regained his color, and the nurses assured us that everything was fine. Except, you see, it happened again, and this time, Jacob was admitted into the NICU. It was a very scary time for us because we had no idea what was going on. And then things quickly started to spiral out of control. I remember the first night of Jacob being in the NICU, I remember praying over him. And I opened my eyes and I noticed a ticking movement going on with his right hand. I immediately called the nurse over and I said to her, I said, "Ma'am, there's something wrong with my baby." They immediately ordered an EEG scan of the brain. That scan detected seizure activity going on, which then prompted an MRI scan of the brain. On the 7th day of Jacob in the NICU, we were called into the doctor's office to go over his MRI results. I remember walking in there, and I can't explain it, but I had this overwhelming peace within me that everything was going to be okay, and we were going to be given positive results. The doctor then informed us that our newborn had suffered a neonatal stroke, and we were absolutely devastated. We knew at that moment that it was a long journey ahead of us. On the 9th day of being in the NICU, Jacob was released to come home with us. And that is when my husband and I made the decision that I wasn't going to return back to work. I need to stay home and take care of Jacob and be present for every doctor appointment, every therapy session he was going to require. It was absolutely devastating. Shortly into becoming a stay-at-home mom, I started trying to think of ways to supplement my income. One night, I was on YouTube, and I came across this YouTube channel. Maybe you guys have heard of it. Empty Hanger? Listen, her videos really motivated me to get serious about reselling. I started sourcing, enlisting, and within the first week, I started making sales. I even got my kids involved. They participate in every aspect, from going sourcing with me to dropping them packages off. It's a family affair, and I post about them all the time on my Instagram page. I recently changed my name to Flip Journey. You see, the goal with that name change was to develop a known brand and continue to grow with the help of Poshmark. Because like I said, my road has been a journey, a flip journey to be exact. And I am forever grateful for my sales on Poshmark that I'm still able to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm sure a lot of you guys are sitting here wondering about Jacob. He is now 2 years old, and he is doing so good. He has never had another seizure since being in that NICU. Praise God. I know that the best is yet to come, and I wish all of you guys much success on your Posh journey. Listen, the goal of me opening my heart and sharing this with you guys is to inspire at least one of you to want to share your story as well. I wanted to, a lot of my friends and family don't even know what happened with Jacob. But I opened my heart to share this story with you guys, to inspire one of you guys to want to share your story. Because you know what? We all have a story. My name is Veronica, also known as Flip Journey. And this was my Posh story.
Give it up for these ladies for sharing their story. It's like, we're all in tears back there. My gosh. But thank you again for sharing your stories. You know, their bravery is, noticed, and we love hearing all of your Posh stories. It's really one of my favorite parts of our community is how we're all from different walks of life, and Poshmark just brings us together to support each other, so let's keep that going, never ends. All right, this is very hard to transition from that. So this next presentation, I know you guys are gonna really be excited about because it's all about the data. We know you love that. So the title of this is Numbers Speak Louder Than Words. So get ready for a 100% increase in your knowledge from our dynamic data duo, Audrey and Aayush. And as an added bonus, our Chief Data Officer, Barca Saxena, is here to kick it off. So please give her a warm welcome.
Hello, everyone. Hey. Such great Posh stories. I know we heard a few. We will hear some more tomorrow. But honestly, these stories are the ones which drives each and every one of us at Poshmark to keep building, to serve you all better. It is so wonderful to be here. I'm so excited that I was able to finally make it. So who here is ready to hear about some data secrets to grow their business? Yay! But not so fast. First, we have a quiz. We are a data people. We can't just start without asking some data questions. So I know there is a map out there where we are trying to fill it, that who is from where. But let's make some guess. How many states do we think are represented in this room? And which state has the largest representation? Well, that's where there was some conflict, right? So yes, California, we have all but one state. So the darker the color, the bigger the representation. And then, as Manish mentioned this morning, let's not forget our first-time Posh attendees from Canada. Welcome. next question, and I promise it's not a long quiz. It will be over soon. I know we are trying to fill this out as well. How many years are represented here from the perspective of when you started Poshmark journey? 5, 3. Okay. We have every single year represented in this audience. So Poshmark started in 2011, and we have people from 2011 to 2019. This is so amazing. Thank you so much for being on this journey with us. And what an amazing journey this has been. Let's take a look at the 5-year success story of our sellers. So these are the people who joined us 5 years ago. This is where they started in their year 1. Year 2. Year 3. Year 4. And the year 5. In 5 years, they have seen 7x growth. Wow. This is amazing. Give everyone yourself a big hand. And what we can tell you is, this is the journey everyone is on. So if there are people who are starting in 2017, in 3 years, they are exactly on this trajectory. So with that, let me hand it over to Aayush and Audrey to share some data insights so that you all can continue to be on this or even a steeper growth journey.
Thank you, Veronica. Wow, 7x growth. I wish all the Poshers could do that. And we are here to help you using different tips through data analysis that we have done. The way we have structured this analysis is divided into 4 different groups, which are essential to grow your sales. The first one is the inventory. It's important to have a good inventory, a detailed inventory, and a diverse inventory. Second one is marketing. Poshmark is a social commerce place, right? So you need to build your social network and market it to that social network so that people come to your closet and purchase your listings. Third one is promotions. A lot of users engage with your listing by actions such as likes, comments, shares. These are basically intent to purchase. You can make promotions to them, offers, buyer's offers, seller offers, so that they end up purchasing those listings. So how do you do that better? And finally, the experience. Throughout the journey of your interaction with the buyers, the kind of experience you give goes a long way in building long-term relationships, which in turn converts into repeat purchases. So it's a low-hanging fruit. You should be able to do that. So all these 4 different attributes, we are going to learn deeper into each of the data elements that we have analyzed and see how we can help you do all these things better. So let's go into inventory and see what there is.
Yeah. Let's start with something that's really easy, creating a new listing in your closet. When you're creating a new listing, you want to include as much information as you can, because when buyers are looking at it, this will really help them to decide to buy or not to buy. Just some examples here. When your listing title has more than 4 or 5 words, the chance of selling is increased by 60%. And description, as much detail as you can in the description, because Poshers who have more than 20 to 25 words, their chance of selling is 40% more than Poshers who did not. Original price, that's important as well. That makes people excited, telling them how much they're gonna save if they buy from your closet, right? And pictures, more pictures the better. Include pictures, different pictures of different details and different angles. So 70% increase in chance of selling there. Lastly, brand. Brand is a really important way to engage with your buyers. It's speaking to the buyers in such a powerful way. And people who tag the brand in their listing, the chance of selling is higher for more than 100% than people who didn't. So before we actually move on to the next tips, I just want to make sure that we all understand what these numbers mean. What do those 60%, 40% mean, right? So here, what we did was that we looked at Poshers who did something and compared them with Poshers who did not do that. And we calculated the difference in their chance of selling, the increase in how much the chance of their likelihood to sell. So for example, brand. We look at Poshers who include brand, and we also look at Poshers who did not include brand. And we calculated the difference in their chance of selling. And we got 110%. So these numbers are this difference in chance of selling, not actually how likely it is to sell. And secondly, the numbers are not additive. Of course, the more you do, the better it will be. But maybe it's not going to be a 10%. Maybe it's not going to be a 10 times. Of course, the more you do, the better it is. So two things to keep in mind. The numbers are the difference, the increase in chance of selling, not actually how likely it is to sell. And also, the numbers are not additive.
Thank you, Audrey. Yes, it's very important that you understand what these numbers are and how the methodology works. Moving on. Now that you have nailed down what the listing attributes should be, what's next? It's the collection of listing, which essentially is your closet. There are quite a few closet attributes that go a long way again to bring people and they end up making a purchase from your closet. The first thing is how fresh and how frequently you refresh your closet. What we have seen is people who on an average list at least 5 listings a month have about 50 to 60% higher chance of making a sale from their closet. That's a huge number. So you should continue to list as often as possible and as much as possible. Second is how diverse your closet is. Because when somebody comes to your closet, they're just not looking at that particular listing. They look at all the other different items that you have to offer. And if you have a diverse closet, they might end up purchasing something. And that is backed by the data too. What we are seeing is that people who have multiple departments of listings, such as home, kids, men, and women, they usually have 20 to 30% higher chance of selling. Similarly, people who have listings which are, closet which have more than 5 categories of listings, apparel, shoes, bags, etc., they have about 30 to 50% higher chance of selling. Now, these are just indicative numbers. If you look at the trend lines, they're all trending up. So what we are saying is you should do more of these things. And the more you do, the better it gets. So with that, let's move on to the next one, which is marketing.
Awesome. Now you have a really good closet. Let's do some marketing. Because we are a social product and we are built on love, how we do marketing is also going to be social and spreading love. The first thing you want to do is to follow more people and expand your network. Because when you follow people, they're going to follow back. And you will grow your network. And as a result, everything you do, you're updating closet, creating your listing, sharing your closet, and sharing other people's closet will all be more effective. Just to give you an idea of how much. So on this graph, we are showing number of people you follow and how many followers you will receive. So there's a strong correlation there. So make sure you follow more people to expand your network. And through the data, we saw that Poshers who have more followers, their chance of selling is so much more better. The data here shows that if you have more than 20K followers, your chance of selling is 80% more than Poshers who don't. Of course, these numbers are just a rough estimate. Of course, the more you have, the better it will be. As you can see on the graph, for the graph on the right, it's like always growing trend.
Yeah.
So make sure you follow people, grow your network, expand your network to boost your sales.
That's great. Now we have nailed down the listing attributes, the closet attributes, and we now have a big network. What's next? Next is to tap the potential of that network, right? Why do we have this big network? How do you do that? Poshmark offers multiple ways for you to utilize the network that you have built for yourself so that people view your listings and come to your closet. That's the ultimate idea. The more people come to your closet, the better the chances of you making a sale, right? The first thing that you can do is, let's say you have those 20,000 followers on your profile. You can self-share your listings. Just go to your closet, whichever listings you want to share, just share it. Real time, all those followers will see that listing on their feed. The more you self-share, the more the chances of these followers viewing that listing on their feed whenever they become active, right? And again, better the views, more the views, the better the chance of selling. So please go ahead and self-share. To give you the numbers here, again, the trend line is going up. Again, more shares, better the chances. To give you a rough estimate, if you do at least 10 self-shares per day, you have about 70 to 100% extra chance of selling. That's a huge, huge plus. That brings us to the next question. Why should we restrict ourselves to just our immediate followers? Is there a way to reach out to more people? Because Poshmark universe has a lot of users, right? The next best thing that you can do is community share. It basically means that you can reach your network's network. How do you do that? You go to someone's closet, you find their listing, and you share it. That listing is now shared to your followers. And since our community is built on the core value of love, people share your listings to their closet. It's the same concept as follows. When you follow someone, somebody follows you back. Similarly, if you share someone else's closet, someone else's listing, they come back and share your listing to their closet. This concept is called as a fan-out effect. You reach more and more people through the power of networking. So please, go ahead, share other people's listings, share the love. Finally, even after doing these two things, there's a huge set of users who doesn't come in this particular group of people. How do you reach out to them effectively? For that, we have parties. There are 4 parties that happen on the platform every day, and each of them are themed around a particular type of listing. So if you have that type of listing, go ahead, join that party and share the listings in those parties. Why? Because people who are intending to buy such listings are already active there. And if you share your listings in those parties, they will view those listings. Once they view those listings, they'll come to your closet and purchase something. It's as simple as that. For all these 3, you will see that the trend line is again going up. These are real numbers. So these are very effective ways of marketing your listing. So please, by all means, do all the 3 different shares. Now, should we just restrict ourselves to a Poshmark community? I know we have a lot of users, but what if there was a way to reach out to external audience too? And for that, we have something called as external shares. So you can connect your other social media accounts to your Poshmark account and then share your listings to that larger network which is outside of Poshmark to reach more new eyes. Finally, the bottom line message, do sharing a lot more and do different types of sharing to reach a lot of new users. All right, with that, we move to the next one, which is promotions.
Awesome. Thanks, Aayush, for sharing all the secrets in marketing. Now, with everything you have done, you're all set up for successful growth on Poshmark. Next up, I'm going to show you how to leverage the powerful promotion tools on Poshmark to even accelerate that. Today, we offer 4 ways to run promotions: offer to likers, buyer offers, price drops, and promo days. I'm going to walk you through the best practice of each. First is offer to likers. Let's say that you have a listing that you created. It got some likes, but they haven't bought yet. And you're like, why don't you just buy it? Right? So offer to likers is a really powerful way to engage with your potential buyers, because they already liked it. With offer to likers, if you make that, the likers will receive your offer, and others won't see it because it's private. Through the data, we have seen that Poshers who leverage offers to likers, their chance of selling is 80 to 90% more than Poshers who did not. So it's really powerful. Make sure you use that. Second is price drops. So let's say you have a listing. It's been a while since you created it. Got some likes, again, not sold. And here, you want to use a price drop to essentially re-engage with your potential buyers. Because again, they like it. They just haven't pulled the trigger yet. With a price drop, what's going to happen is that we will notify the likers. And also, at the meantime, the discount information will be displayed on the listing details page, so everyone can see it. And through the data, we saw that, it's like an extremely powerful way to help boost the sale on some stale listings. And through the data, we saw that Poshers who leverage price drops on a stale listing, their chance of selling is increased by 80 to 90% than Poshers who did not do a price drop on stale listings. And then buyer offers. That is my favorite. Because when you get a buyer offer, the buyer has already committed, and all you have to do is to accept it. But what if the price is too low? What if you're expecting $50, but then you receive $20, right? So in this case, I recommend you to always make a counter offer. When you receive $20, no worries, just counter back $50. Because when you make a counter offer and you leave the decision to the buyer, they can still accept. So counter offer, please make a counter offer if you're not happy with the price. And through the data, we saw that Poshers who made a counter offer, their chance of selling is 40% more than Poshers who did not counter or accept the buyer offer. Lastly, promo days. So today, there are two types of promo days on Poshmark: closet clear out and make deal day. Closet clear out is when you make a price drop, and then Poshmark will offer shipping discount to help you kind of boost your sale out of the price drop. And make deal day is for offer to likers. On both of these days, what we saw was that huge volume traffic will come back to the platform, and people are looking to buy. So make sure you leverage promo days to boost your sale on Poshmark. So here we're showing 4 different ways to run promotions. Try them out if you haven't, and do a lot of them, because they are super powerful.
Yeah, and not to mention the sweepstakes prizes we have to offer on these promo days. That's my favorite. Just try it. All right, finally, the experience. So now that you have done all these things and potentially made a sale, you have a buyer. Wouldn't it be cool that the buyer comes back and purchases from you again in future? I mean, that's like an organic purchase, right? And you don't have to go through all the different things that you did before. And for that, what we have seen is sellers who give a good experience to their buyers end up having a lot of repeat purchases from these buyers. How do you give good experience? A few things that we have listed down here is, number 1, please ship on time. When you receive an order, the sooner you ship, the sooner the buyer gets it, and the happier he feels. I mean, nobody wants to wait 10 days to receive an order, right? So yeah, ship on time. Second, please package well. For instance, if you're selling a shirt, I mean, please iron it, fold it, and package it well so that the buyer, when he receives it, it feels like a gift, and he feels happy. Third, add a personal touch. A lot of sellers we have seen add a personal note to their packages, which is quite sweet and very much appreciated by the buyers. And they feel like, hey, I know this person, it's such a nice gesture. And they feel good. It's all about feeling good in the end. Finally, throughout this journey that you interact with the buyers, make sure that you respond as soon as possible and as efficiently as possible, as clearly as possible, because it creates a smooth journey for the buyer throughout the process. To give you a data back example here on shipping time, what we have seen is that sellers who on an average ship within first 2 days of receiving an order have about 50 to 100% higher chance of receiving repeat purchases from those buyers. That's a huge opportunity, and nobody should miss out on it, because all these things are very much easy, I would say, to take care of. So with that, we have learned 4 different things. Now let's summarize what these things are.
So what did we talk about? 4 things. Inventory. First, when you're creating a listing, provide as much information as you can, and also list often and list diverse. And when you have a good closet, do some marketing. Follow people, expand your network, connecting with people, and share a lot and a lot. And promotions is something that we offer on Poshmark that really powerful ways to help you grow your business. With promotions, make sure that you make an offer and respond to offers. And do make sure that you leverage the powerful ways to kind of spice up your kind of price drop and offers by doing price drops and take advantage of promo days. And after you make a sale, the good customer experience will help a lot. You can do that by communication, shipping quickly, personalize, and package well. Because a really good customer experience will help retain your buyer as a customer in the long run. So these are all the tips and best practices we want to share with you today. We hope with that, you're all set up for a successful and accelerated journey on Poshmark. And then after this session, if you still have any questions, Aayush and I will still be around. Feel free to grab us and ask questions.
Yes. Finally, we would like to introduce our data team. And thank you all for joining us in this journey and growing with us together. Thank you. All right.
Okay, I'm hearing the buzzing around here. How cool was that session? Who's ready to put those insights to work? Can we give it up one more time for the amazing data team who pulled together that amazing, incredibly insightful session? And to lead the next conversation and our final session of the day around how Poshers are playing a role in the retail revolution, I'm super pleased to welcome to the stage someone who's part of the team who's working hard to scale Poshmark for the community. Let's hear it for Camille Ford.
What a beautiful crowd. How is everyone doing? So we are the final session of the day, and we promise to make it exciting. So without further ado, hi everyone. My name is Camille, and I'm a senior manager on the New Markets team here at Posh. As you've heard already today, last year we introduced Posh Markets as a way to make it easier for the community to shop, sell, and connect around interests. I'm really excited to have these three masters of new markets with me today, Akil, Tiffany, and Crystal. That's right. Each of whom have used markets to scale their businesses and pave their own unique paths. So today we're going to talk about strategies for identifying new business opportunities, the challenges of early adoption, because we all know it's not easy, and how to test and scale your business using new markets. So without further ado, can each of you share how long you've been on Poshmark and how you got started?
Hello everyone, my name's Akil McLeod. I'm at Dapper Advisor on Poshmark, and I've been on Poshmark for about 10 months now. And I got started on Poshmark because I quit my full-time job working in higher education, and I was just looking for new platforms to just sell men's clothing.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Kroger, and I'm from Dallas, Texas. And I'm TD Grable 24 on the app, and Infinity Rain also. And yeah, I just completely blanked out, so there's that.
I told you it would be fun. So.
I'm not a good public speaker.
You're doing great.
Hi, I'm Crystal Blanchard. My name is at Fashion Deity on Poshmark. I've been on Poshmark about 4 years now, and yeah, 4 years.
I've
I've been on 7 years. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
And Crystal, where do you work full time?
I work full time for the post office, so I'm one of the great employees, though.
That's right. So when she's not bringing her packages to the post office, she is at the post office.
24/7.
That's right. All right, well, let's jump right into it. So customer preferences and demand are constantly changing, and it's become more important than ever to keep up with those changes in demand. So Tiffany and Crystal, if we could start first with you, can you talk a little bit about how you've evolved your businesses over time and responded to some changes in demand?
Sure. Me. Well, I started selling items out of my closet, and then I would go thrifting, and then I decided to turn it into a boutique. And from there, I started our brand, Infinity Rain, with S. Cannon. I'm sure y'all all know Suzanne. And we started it's been 2 years ago, I think. We started Infinity Rain, and we've also started we've had a plus size, our Sky by Infinity Rain. We started on Poshmark as well, and we just opened our first brick and mortar store last year.
Congrats.
Yes, that absolutely deserves a round of applause.
I started on Poshmark because I was going to move to LA. So my idea was I wanted to sell all of my clothing and buy new wardrobe. So I found the app, and I was like, oh, that's a good idea. But things changed. I wound up staying in New York, and then I wound up going full-time, I think, on the app 2 years ago. And first I started selling women's clothing, then I expanded into men's, and now I'm doing hair accessories because someone really close to me has cancer, so they lost their hair. And as a woman, having your hair is part of beauty, and I realized a lot of women lose their hair, so I started selling wigs. And sorry, I'm getting like emotional. So it really has evolved my closet because I have a lot of customers who are losing their hair or their hair is thinning out, and they come to me as a way to feel beautiful. So to me, it's become a personal journey, and right now it's my niche, and I'm really proud of that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. It definitely sounds like in both of your cases, it was a bit of an evolution. Now, Akil, what type of merchandise have you focused on? Because it seems like from some of our conversations, you really focused on the same customer. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So for me, I focus on men's clothing and shoes. So I'm about 90% men's clothing. I do sell some women's shoes and clothing as well, but about 10%, not much. I really try to hone in on one or two different categories.
Absolutely. And can you share an example of how you've leaned into new market opportunities around men specifically?
So when I got onto Poshmark, basically when I first started hearing about Poshmark is when they introduced the men's category. So for me, I was already selling men's clothing on other platforms, but I realized that anytime there's something new happening on a platform or a website, that's usually the best time to basically jump in and try to test that new market, because if it's new for them, they're going to be the platform is going to try their best to push that and spread that to their new audience. So I just took advantage of that, and if you guys were to check my closet now, I don't have a ton of listings on there, but because it sells quickly. I'm one of the few people that's selling men's clothing. So a lot of times when people are looking for shoes or men's clothing at a pretty affordable price point, I'm probably one of the first closets they find.
Great. So it sounds like through your evolution and some of the examples you've shared, although these were new areas, you were pretty clear about the customer you were serving. But without a doubt, trying new things comes with some risk. So can you talk a little bit about how, as you were testing some of these new areas, what signals you looked for to know whether or not you should pull back, or better yet, whether or not you should double down?
I know for me personally, I usually go through them. I usually switch markets and see what people are selling to try to keep a competitive edge. And then I also follow fashion trends because I want to stay ahead of the curve. Fashion is usually a year or two ahead of time. So I found that if I follow the trends and have items before other people have them or on the app, it gives me an advantage in sales. and I also use sales reports to monitor what I'm doing and within the app, and it'll tell me if I'm selling as much as I should, or maybe I don't need to restock this item because it's really not moving, if it's a waste of time. And I try to keep a variety in my closet, because for me, what I found is that I want people to come to my closet and be able to find one of everything, pretty much. Men's, women's, kids, swimwear, home. So to me, it gives me a higher selling advantage over other people who maybe they only have one specific area. And for me, that's really worked, because it's showing in my sales report.
How frequently would you engage with your sales report? Like, let's say you just tested out something new. Like, when are you looking for those indicators of performance?
I want to say I do it 3 months, but if it's it depends on the item. It depends on the item. Generally, I do it 3 months, but if it's an item that's really selling that I notice, like just offhand, I'm like, oh, I sold like 5 of these maybe in a week. So maybe I'll check once a month to see like the exact amount, to see how many I need to order so I can prepare and always keep stock, because I don't want to be out of stock, you know, because then a customer will go somewhere else.
Absolutely. Nikhil, what about you?
What was the question again?
Okay. So as you were testing new markets or new opportunities broadly, what signals do you look for to know whether or not something's performing well, or whether or not you should actually double down?
I guess the best performance indicator for all of us is sales. For me, is if it's selling, how quickly it's selling. So I usually give things about a month before I go in to change anything. I'm somewhat patient, but at the same time, I know that markets change quickly. There's so much more competition now that you kind of have to keep adjusting with the market. So for me, I give things about 30 days. After the first 30 days, I'll either change prices, go and change photographs, might try to switch up my sourcing habits. And yeah, I usually just give things about a month before I make any real changes, but I try to be somewhat patient before I try to change things too quickly.
Absolutely. And so we know sales are the holy grail signal. Are there any other indicators that you look at?
I would say likes and comments is important. One thing lately, what I've been doing when it comes to likes, I'm not going to say that it's super important to me, but if I have a ton of likes on a certain item and I'm not getting offers, basically that lets me know my price is probably too high. People like it, but it's just out of their price range. So I'll give it about 30 days, and then if I'm getting a bunch of likes, I'll go in and lower the price, and then probably send offers to likers to those. Just let people know, like a second indication, like, hey, I lowered my price. If you really want it, the time is now, that type of thing.
Got it. And so we've talked a little bit about the details of when to know and the signals. Tiffany, you have had quite the evolution. So started selling in your closet, launched your boutique, launched a brand, brick and mortar. As you made several of those changes, what were some of the signals you looked for that maybe weren't as straightforward?
I mean, pretty much the same thing that they're saying. What's the question again? I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm really nervous.
We're all family and friends here. It's all good. So even we can talk specifically about Sky. So as you thought about expanding into offering a plus size, talk about the thought process behind that between you and your co-founder.
Well, we knew that plus was a pretty big area for us to move into. So we decided to, we just decided to do it, and I don't know, y'all. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous.
You're doing great. Is she doing great?
Hey, just because you know business, you're not a public speaker, okay? Just so you know.
Okay. You're doing great. Okay. So I guess switching gears a little bit, with all the opportunities to cater to different interests, which all of you guys have done at different periods of your growth, how do you make sure your brand is still cohesive?
I know, speaking for myself, cohesiveness of your closet is so important, especially if you're utilizing markets and you do want to have one of each market in your closet, like luxury, men's, women's. Because my first thing when all the markets started popping, I got on, it was just women's. And then when men's came, kids came home, I'm like, how am I going to make this work without my closet looking a hot mess? So that's the truth. That's what I thought. But I have a background in styling, so that helped. And what I said to myself is, well, let's tie it all together where your closet has one of everything, but it looks good. So I have cohesiveness. So what I'll do is I'll take swimwear, which is women's fashion, and then I'll have like a beach towel. So that's how it ties into home, because people who swim obviously go to the beach and use beach towels. So, and then maybe I'll have like a matching outfit for the baby, which is part of the baby's market, and then I'll have like something for dad. So that way I have something from every market, but my closet is still cohesive, and it also makes sense.
Absolutely. Tiffany, one of the things that we talked about was this idea of like trial and error and making sure that you're testing different things until you find your niche. Yeah. How did you know when you found your niche?
I mean, I really enjoyed thrifting, but it was taking a lot of time to do, to take one picture and list it. So I wanted to turn into the boutique stuff so that I could take one picture for like 6 items or 12 items. And it actually started to help with sales for me personally.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And so, Akil, even though, no, you're doing great. Akil, even though that you focus primarily on men in your closet, do you use certain strategies as you are listing or merchandising to make sure that that cohesiveness is still there for you and that your niche is clear?
For me, keeping things cohesive is basically just like grouping everything together. So in my closet, I'll put all the men's shirts together, all the women's shirts together, all the shoes in just one. Basically, when you're scrolling through my closet, everything just kind of flows. So that just works for me, and it's easier for me to share it, especially if it's a best in shoes party happening. I can literally just go down to where all my shoes are and just share that one particular section. And if I'm feeling like sharing my whole closet, I'll do that. Usually I do, but if I'm short on time, I can easily just share the shoes and then just keep it moving.
Yeah. Nice. So getting specifically into how you use markets. So we know that markets help to surface your merchandise to these high intent buyers who are looking for that specific thing. But on a day-to-day, can you share an example of how you use Posh Markets as a seller?
You can go first.
Okay. For markets, I think I'm really just in predominantly 2 markets, really, men's clothing and the kick section. But as you were telling me a few minutes ago, in terms of the kick section, and I gotta share this with y'all because I just learned this too. For men's shoes, the price point is $100 or more to put yourself in that kicks market, and for women, it's $50 or more, right? So with me knowing this information now, it's gonna kind of change my pricing strategy. So I usually would always price my stuff $99, $89, $79, but now since I know certain shoes to put it in that kicks market and to put it in front of potential buyers, I'll probably price that item that I was pricing at $99, I'll probably price it at $100, just so that it can get in that kicks market category and potentially, get in front of more buyers and make more sales.
Crystal, did you want to add to that?
I go through the markets quite frequently, just because it's easier. If I'm looking for something for luxury, I don't want to have all the markets because then I got to shift through stuff. So if I switch over to luxury, I can find a Chanel bag if that's what I'm looking for, or all the bags that are high end and don't see other stuff. I also use it to check out my competition and see what they're doing, because to me it's smart. It's friendly but smart. Yeah, I mainly just use it for a competitive edge. That's really why I go back and forth.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit, or share an example of kind of what you might do if you are doing some market research and using markets as a tool for that?
Now I'm blank. Thanks, Tiff. Why am I blank? I mean, I just really search. I search and check the sales report, and I'll see like what other people have. I'll search for like, say, colors and what's trending, to see what other people are doing. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Tiffany, you guys recently launched a home line, is that right?
Yeah, we did. Well, I guess not a full line, but we started branching out in our brick and mortar store, and it was great because it was just in time for the home market on Poshmark. So it's kind of been great for us as far as, being able to have inventory at the store and be able to, have extra and put lots more on Poshmark. So.
And as you guys were thinking about that expansion, how did you pick the styles or figure out like, hey, this is going to still speak to the existing Infinity Reign customer?
Yeah, with the home goods or just in general?
With the home goods.
We kind of just pick what we like. We like our style and, and just kind of go with that. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because not everyone's going to like what you like. But you still have to, try to please everybody, but sometimes it doesn't work out.
Keyword try. You don't know until you try.
Exactly, you don't know until you try, for sure.
So obviously we've launched a high number of markets recently. Can you talk a little bit about which market you're most excited about for your business and why? I didn't tell them I was going to ask this question.
Oh,
yeah, this is a trick question. I think I'm still just more excited for the men's market because it's still new, it's still growing, it's still a lot of people that are coming to Poshmark, joining almost every day. It's an influx of people. So I'm just excited about that aspect of it because with more people joining the app, more potential customers, and even when the CEO were talking earlier today and he was saying it's 7 million sellers are still buying stuff too. So the more people that come to the app, it's even better. You could still increase your sales.
I know me, I was excited about home and kids. I'm trying to get more into kids because women shop and they shop for their kids. They really don't have a choice. So I want to offer that. I want to expand and offer that. Right now, I offer some things, but I want to get heavily more into it. And home, I like because to me, it can give it like a well-rounded feeling, I think as shoppers and sellers, I want people, in my classes specifically, I want people to get a feeling of it's a one-stop shop, like I want to beautify you, and I also want you to have things where you can beautify your house, and so maybe you can come and buy like a plush blanket or, a plush throw, and then you can match that with your maybe mirror already, and then you have like some shoes you got from me. I just want it to be an overall glam effect. So that's the way I run my closet. So I was excited about home because I get to offer that in addition to all the other things that I offer.
Yeah. Do you notice like a increase in sales by having all the different, like a little bit in each market?
I do. I really like, when I started to do, because I first started off in women's, I think it's always, when you're a woman, it's easier because you know what you like, and you tend to think if you have great style, people like your style, that it's sellable. But sometimes that doesn't always work, and it's just the easiest. So I really like men's clothes, so I expanded in that, even though it was kind of uncomfortable for me. And then I wanted to make money, right? Because that's what we do. We sell on Poshmark to make money. So I started expanding in other areas. And I was like, wow, I would have never thought to do like babies because why?
Yeah.
Like I just never thought about it. But I definitely seen, like when I started selling like t-shirts for little kids that were super cute, and then matching mom tees, I seen it increase. And I'm like, wow, why didn't you think of this before? But it was because the market, when it became available, it was because Poshmark brought it to my attention. Really, I wouldn't have thought to do it on my own.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like with the boutique stuff with Suzanne and I, we're just we not pigeonholed, but we're kind of like in the, boutique world. But that's why we try to branch out to the home goods and we would like to eventually go into men's and we actually just discussed going into baby stuff as well. So maybe on a smaller scale, but.
That's exciting.
Yeah, but that'll be fun because I really want to test out the markets too, like Crystal does, and just see if it's, if it's profitable that way too.
Absolutely, and I think you raise another interesting point. Like, as you've expanded into these different markets, do you feel like they've brought in new audiences, or you're just really doubled down on your existing customer base?
No, it's brought in new audiences, specifically for me, because I didn't really I didn't offer any men's items specifically, even though I have a fascination with men's clothing. But I'm a woman, and it's what I'm good at. I used to do styling, so it's very comfortable for me. But when I got into men's, I love menswear. And men's, let me tell you, if you don't have men's in your closet, you're missing out. So I know you're doing good, Akil, because men buy full price. They don't offer.
Yeah.
They don't haggle you. You know, like we're women, we all haggle, right? I do
You'd
it
be
too. I go to other
surprised.
people's closet and I'm trying to, you know, make an offer for the low. But I'm not gonna lie, I do it sometimes. But men usually buy full price, which is what I like. So that's why I specifically made sure I was like, I need to get into this market. I need to expand on it. This is working and it's beneficial.
Good.
And
That's awesome.
it brought me a new audience base, which was men. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
Anything else to add there? All right. Well, as we wrap up, what's the main piece of advice, rather, that you would give sellers who are looking to expand into new markets, but considering all the risks that might be associated, or just not necessarily wanting to take that leap? What advice would you give them to encourage them to do so?
I would say be yourself. Take your time, you know, test one market at a time. You don't have to do everything like me or two things. You know, everything doesn't work for everybody. And if you do one market, say you do kicks and you realize, I mean, even though kick sells really well, you do that and you feel like, I don't really want to photograph this, or it's not my thing. Try babies, because maybe you'll love that. You never know. You can always move on to another market. You're not stuck anywhere. It's your closet. You can do what you want to do because you're the boss.
Yep. You're not going to know unless you try. I mean, that's pretty much, I mean, we've tried things and failed many times, and then we've tried things that were really successful, but you're only going to know that if you actually take a leap. And you, like she said, you can start off small. Like I started off very small. You know, I was in the dental field for 20 years, and I quit my job. I was scared as hell, and but I took that leap, and you know, I think I started with like $1,500. I took a loan, and I was scared to death and went to market, didn't know what I was doing. Thank goodness Suzanne took me and, you know, put me under her wing. But, and she is the wind beneath my wings, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. But, I mean, you just have to just try different things and see what sticks. And sometimes even if you're doing great at something, 6 months down the line, you may not. So you have to kind of, you know, figure out a different way. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you ladies summed it up. I think the main thing is you just got to jump in there and try it, because if you don't, someone said it earlier, but I'm going to mess up the quote already, but it was something along the lines of you miss every shot you don't take. So it's like you just got to go out there and take the risk. Yeah. Not saying take the risk and quit your job like I did. I'm not saying that. But you definitely... Oh, you said why? But you definitely just got to take the risk, and you're gonna learn as you go. The longer you stick with something, the more you're gonna learn, the more your business is gonna grow. Yeah. And in the beginning, it's gonna be slow, and you're gonna think that it's not working. But just enjoy the process and enjoy those slow, you know, those slow victories, those small victories, I should say. Yeah. I see every day as like a new challenge, and you know, I may have made great sales one day and no sales the next. But then tomorrow I can, you know, kind of recoup from that next day. So just take it one day at a time.
Yeah. And I say just don't compare yourself to anyone else. Yeah. Like be you, do you, and you'll be successful. Yeah. If you start comparing yourself to everyone, you start to kind of like psych yourself out like, oh, they're doing so good and we're not doing good. But if you just stay in your lane, do what makes you happy, you'll succeed if you work hard. I promise.
One more tip too. Is to, like you
said, a whole
said,
lot of tips coming out. This is great.
like you said, that's good. One more thing is literally to like just mind your business. I used to be on Instagram a lot, and once I started, oh yeah, y'all can clap for that. Yeah.
Clap for that.
Yeah, because once you start to just mind your own business and focus on your own, focus on you, you realize how much your business will grow.
It's true. That's right.
Because I found myself comparing myself to other people in terms of sales, in terms of clothes. I'm like, damn, they're fly.
And it psychs you out a little bit. You start to get depressed, and then you're like, no.
Mind your business.
I agree with that.
You hear that, everybody?
Mind your business.
Well, thank you all for those wonderful insights. I know I certainly learned a lot about leveraging markets as a tool and just thinking about expansion and not being afraid to take the leap. But before we officially wrap up, I have a lightning round set of questions for our panelists, and no, I did not tell them in advance. So I'll give each of you 2 options, and you have to pick the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Okay? So on a typical Friday night, and we know that this is not a typical Friday night, so not tonight, we can find you dressed in a keel, suspenders, or sweatpants.
Sweatpants. No reason to wear suspenders on. I'm not even wearing them now.
Listen, you're Dapper Advisor.
Very dapper. Very dapper.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that one coming.
Tiffany, jeans or joggers?
Did you say jeans?
Jeans or joggers.
Oh, joggers all the way. Yeah.
Crystal, sneakers or sandals?
Sandals. I'm not wearing sneakers.
Okay, and last question. Describe your Poshmark closet in 3 words.
Fun, flashy, and fabulous.
Yeah. That's very, very good. I'm just going to copy her. That sounds really good. Sounds really good. I'm going with that. That's what I'm going with.
Love it.
I would say clean, simple, and affordable.
Please join me in thanking these panelists, everyone. Thank you for being such a fun and engaging audience. We hope that you had fun with us tonight. I highly encourage you guys to keep the conversation going with these panelists. They will be around all of PoshFest, and I can tell you catching them one-on-one is truly a delight.
Yes, do that, and I won't be nervous, I promise. Just come up to me.
So lastly, we encourage you to check out the Posh Markets pop-up. If you haven't already, it'll be open all day tomorrow. We also have authentication experts at the luxury station, so make sure to stop by. And that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all very much.
Yes. I'm just kidding. Girl, I'm so sorry. Good job, you guys. Good job, good job. Can you believe day 1 is over?
No way.
Almost over. We have a few more announcements for you guys. Did you have fun today? Awesome. It was such an incredible day. So before we wrap up, just a quick announcement. We actually were so blown away with all of our posh men here today that we are
Shout
actually
out.
doing a happy hour at Nook for you guys to connect and, you know, swap stories and tips. So if you're interested, posh men, head over there, 4:30 to 6. And you can't, there'll be like limited capacity, but we would love for the posh men to be able to connect and, you know, just like us women get to also.
And going on here tonight, to wrap up the day, we have open time for you guys to further connect with each other. Yeah, so as you guys all know, the relationships you're building here are at the core of community. So we really wanted to give you guys this time to continue to connect with each other, swap on the tips you've learned today. So to guide your conversations, we've got our Posh peer review pamphlets, which Team Posh is walking around right now handing out. Grab one of these, connect with someone new, spend some time talking to them, talking about your business goals, and you guys can share tips and tricks with one another and learn how to grow your business. So it's like a two-way closet consultation. So
Awesome.
Posh peer review.
Awesome. Well, enjoy, and we will see you guys later/tomorrow. That's a wrap, day 1. Cool.